How's it going, guys? So in this video, we're going to dive into how to get rid of your stress to best solve your issues. So what do I mean by that? So many people think that you have to change your state of mind in order to now be happy. And there is truth in that. But there's actually a better way, which I see for myself personally. So So what do I see for myself personally? What is what is the more efficient way of doing things? So the efficient way of seeing things that I see for myself, which is that it doesn't make sense to always want to correct something in order to move forward. What I mean by this is, for example, if I were to trip, I'm not going to correct my tripping in order to keep walking forward. If you're walking and you trip, you're not going to correct your walking in that moment just so you can go walk again. Imagine doing that. You have to correct every time you trip in order to move forward. People who trip, they just move forward. And that's what I'm saying for managing your thinking as well. You don't want to try and correct everything that comes in your head. It's because our mind doesn't work that way. Our mind is basically like water. Water comes and it goes. To try and manipulate water is to go beyond our own control, because can you yourself stop all the water in the world from having motion? You can't do that. That's beyond your capability. It's the same for your mind. It's not about change, it's about understanding. And why do I say that? Is because the moment you have understanding is the moment that change happens on its own. If that makes sense. So now I'm going to dive into this area of conversation, which is still on topic of how can I get rid of my stress to best solve your problems, your issues. So many people want to do what we were talking about before of, yeah, I trip and I want to correct that. But what I'm saying is that there's more to this. And so what I mean by that, now imagine that's the past. Most people believe that I have to go dive into the past, dive into the past and deal with that circumstance in order to move forward. Not even thinking about that. Most people in general, they just dive into that issue, It's like, I can't believe this bad thing has happened to me. Okay. My rent is due on the 31st. What am I gonna do about that? I need to pay my rent. Okay. My friend is getting into a fight right now in Alberta. What am I gonna do? Okay. What am I gonna do? What I'm trying to say is that, okay, you want to look here, because when it comes to managing stress and dealing with all your issues, everything is important here. Right here is the only thing and way of doing things that you can do. How are you going to have time to do all these things? And not even just these things. These are just 3 things that I mentioned: past, future, and friend from other location. In reality, we have many things. We have many things in our mind. What I'm going to say to this person, or I had a stressful day at work. We have many things, how should I'm late, random thinking in our mind. We have all these things in our mind recycling. It's like, oh, I have to go back home and deal with this person. We have so many of these things from these different atmospheres. What I'm trying to say is that these things are existing. But the thing to best manage everything is only here. What do I mean by that? So let's look at the first thing, the past. Even the words themselves are clues. The past. Past. What is the past? Something that happened that already passed. That already happened. Past tense. What do I mean by that? If I broke my leg a year ago, if I look at my leg now, is my leg broken? No. So am I going to start crying about my leg? Oh, I broke my leg. I broke it a year ago. What am I going to do? My leg is not broken. I can see that it's here. So therefore, it is not useful to bring that here onto the now. But there's actually more to say to that, which is good. You don't want to bring things which are foreign, past tense, they already happened. Your leg already healed. It doesn't even have to be physical like that, where you just have to break your leg. Even if something traumatic as a family dying, yeah, that happened. But it already happened. To bring that back now is to bring something that already happened back to life in the present, which it already doesn't exist. And to do that is the same as doing this, taking this image and slapping it in front of your eyes, and that's a part of your living now. You don't want to do that because that robs you of the moment here, the present moment. And why is that bad? Because it affects your life, with life, but also all your interactions with people in general, which you don't want. And you don't want to do that. And there's so many things that you don't want to do, and that is one of them, is diving into the past, even for something that's super traumatic, because it in itself no longer exists anymore. It already happened in this world. It's just that now it's existing in your mind, but you don't want it to do because it's a past tense. It doesn't exist here anymore for you. And it's the same with the future. When you look at the future, we always tend to look at the future to protect ourselves. And what I'm trying to say is that you don't want to protect yourself. Because one, it doesn't even really matter to protect yourself because you're already protected. That's a discussion for another day, for another video. You don't want to look at the future because there's no accuracy of you looking in the future. Even Albert Einstein, all these intelligent beings and people on this planet, they can never, ever, ever accurate predict the future 100% of the time. Oh, but what about 50% of the time? It doesn't matter, even if it's 50%, because we're not often thinking about one future. We're thinking about all the possible futures and all the possible ways we can go. And there's stress in that because, like, oh, out of which one of these is I'm gonna live better? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because there's only here now. You trying to pick the way you want to live, it doesn't always benefit you. You kind of want to let the stream of water take its course, if that makes sense. You don't want you to be taking care of the course because you don't even know what's best for you. If that makes sense. For instance, many things happen to us without us knowing it, But that's also another discussion for another video, which I would love to talk in this one. But this is not the topic. There is no accuracy in looking in the future because we can't even predict ourselves. I'll give you even evidence for it. You can do this experiment yourself in real time. You can try and think what you're gonna think 3 minutes from now. Try to guess that accurately what you're going to think for now. And if you've done that experiment yourself, you'll see that you don't actually know what you're going to think 3 minutes from now. If you don't even know what you're going to think in 3 minutes from now, how are you accurately going to predict what is going to happen for your future, even if you have all these things set up for you? And there's actually the evidence of history in your life, your personal life, where that has happened to you, and maybe it came really close, but it was never ever 100%. Not one time has it been ever 100%. Maybe you thought yourself into thinking it's 100%, but guaranteed that is not true. Billion% that's not true. If someone could prove that is wrong, I'd be actually very curious to go see that and learn something beyond myself, if that are true. But guaranteed, billion% that is not true. Because how can you even guess in 3 minutes from now? You cannot. You don't even know what you're going to think 3 minutes from now. So therefore, it doesn't make sense to look at the future. But also, let alone, the future has infinite possibilities. And 100%, no one can argue this, that this way of thinking is not good for you, thinking about the future. So you're going to split your attention span into infinite possibilities. And then when something requires your full attention, it's not going to happen because you're so living here unintentionally. Same with the now, and then now same with the past, how that's also in your head. I'm trying to say is that none of these things are here now. Like, what are you going to do with it? It's not like Disneyland where you can just go for the ride. Yeah, you can go for the ride with your mind, but not with your body. Your body can't do that. So therefore, it's not important, right? Because you can be like, oh yeah, the water in the Bahamas, oh my God, it feels so nice. But you're not there feeling it. It's not a real feeling. It's always going to give you the illusion of the feeling that you want to feel, but it's never going to be the real thing. And that's the thing. It's only important to feel the real things. So to reiterate, the past is a past tense, no longer existing because it's not here anymore. The future is a thing with too many possibilities, splitting your attention span regardless. And you can't even accurately predict it, so that it doesn't even have use for you. The point I'm making by stating these things is that if it doesn't exist here now, there's nothing it does for you. Even if it does exist now, just the thinking. You don't want to have thinking in your head because your thinking doesn't help you do anything. You don't do your breathing. Breathing does you. When you have a cut on your arm, you don't heal your skin together. It heals itself together. And if you really slow down and notice, when you stand up and go, you're not thinking, okay, flex this part of my leg and go and do that. No, the system is doing that for you. You're not thinking to move your toe and move your other toe all at the same time and spread them at a perfect way just so you can stand up. And then now flex your leg and do all these things. Flex your core, stabilize yourself. Nobody thinks of that because we're not doing that. We're just making the direction ourselves. Okay, I want to go. Your body does it. We're creating that into existence. That is what I'm saying. But it doesn't make sense to live in Disneyland of thinking, because all that does is split your attention span, which gives to you the most of what you want anyways. And also takes away all your stress, because the only thing that exists is here now, and the here now doesn't have any stress to exist for you. And I do want to dive into the past thing before I go into another direction. So, the past. Some people, they have the past and it recycles in their mind, you know? There's levels where you learn that the past doesn't It's foreign. It's already happened. Has no fruit for me. There's that level of understanding that people have, which is good. But there's another level of understanding where the past thoughts come in my head. Once they come in my head, okay. It comes to my head, it's reliving in my head. And I could do one of either things that's now productive in this level of understanding, which is I can either let it pass and go away, or I could do something about it. For example, if I have someone who died that I cared about a lot, that's in my head. Oh my God, I can't believe that happened. What am I going to do about that? Someone died this way. Maybe I'm going to spend time with the people I care most. Maybe I'm going to do that. And by me doing that, I'm going to feel better by doing that. Why? Because I'm here in the moment. And when I do that, I'm feeling better. I'm taking something that is not real and I'm using it. I'm using it to create something positive rather than letting it recycle and causing me suffering, which translates into the time I want to spend with other people, which is going to give them my suffering, which I don't want to do. So when you notice you have past thoughts come into your mind, you can do one of either things. Realize that if it does nothing for you, you just let it go. Because if it's not giving you any truth or anything or knowledge, it's going to do nothing for you. If you're just feeling bad with it and it feels really, really heavy, it doesn't belong in your mind. Only things that feel good, only thing that feels good and are fresh, clear, that belongs in your mind, not heavy, like angry, just frustration, depression, anxiety, all these things. They don't belong in your mind. Either you're going to do something about that or you're going to let it go. And doing something about things does save you the time. Now that I'm mentioning that, either let it go or manage it. Thing is, I have many people ask me, okay, how can I have all these people asking me for things and it's just too much for me to handle. So there's a good way of putting it. That if you have too many things for you to handle, okay, what is the most important for you now? That's a good question to ask you. When you focus on the here and now and not the past and future, when you realize that these are not important for you, now you have the full moment. You have when you wake up until you go to sleep, and you have that time in the middle. And when you're in the moment, you start your day. Okay, what is most important to me now? And that's going to come in your head on its own. Okay, I want to spend time with that person. I'm going to go over there and do that. And when you're doing that, something else is going to come to your mind. I haven't talked to that guy today. I'm going to go and do that. And I'm going to go do that. I need to go eat. That is really important for me right now. Eat. You go eat. I feel good. Hey, I need to get some drinks. That's going to come in your mind. I'm going to go and do that. And when you do everything that's most important to you in that day, that's you actually having your day managed for you and organized for you on its own. And when the day finishes, you realize that you did what you could do for that day. And if there's anything extra, that is saved for the next day. And that on its own will be what's a good word for it? You will see what to do with that the next day. You will know what to do with that the next day. And you will see if that even stays true for you the next day or not. But that's the whole point, that You want to do what's most important for you now. But also another layer of this, because most people want to sell themselves out, sell themselves out for something. What I mean that some people want to do what is important for them, but that thing that's important for them brings them a shitty feeling. What I'm saying is that that's not important. For example, there are many jobs where you're making 10K, 100K, something like that. Really nice jobs for making money. But however, you're fucking losing your hair from the stress. You're losing your hair from the stress. And you have a headache every day. You have so much anger and pent up stuff. You go back home, you just can't even have a good time. You just have to have a drink to even feel better. You have to have a drink to even feel better. And you take out your anger unintentionally on other people. You take out your anger unintentionally on other people. What I'm trying to say is that you don't want to do things that don't feel good. Because in this world, it doesn't even make sense to do things that don't feel good. There's a reason why people do therapy. Okay, can I have help? Why? Because I don't want to do this. I want to feel better. At the end of the day, we want to feel good. It doesn't make sense to sell ourselves out for something that doesn't make us feel good, even if it's something that's good for money. Money will always come to us. It's like we don't collect, when we're hungry, we don't collect 10 of the same meal. So for the next time we feel safe. No, we eat until we're full and we forget about it until we're hungry again, and then we're gonna go get some food. We never know how we're gonna do it the next day. It just happens. It's the same with money. Money comes on it and it goes on its own. However, money definitely comes to you more when you have a good sense for yourself. You have a good attraction about yourself. Nobody wants to give money to a guy who's fucking greedy. I'm like, give me your money. Give it to me now. Nobody wants to give money to that guy. Everybody wants to give to the guy who gives. For example, if I gave you $1 million, you'd be like, oh wow, like you gave me $1 million, like thank you. Oh, thank you so much, sir. You changed my life. I really mean it. Thank you. You would give that, and sometimes maybe even you saw that guy again. Maybe you repay him small, but that's how it works. Everybody wants to give to the guy who's giving. Don't be the guy who sells himself out for money, because when you do that, it will never even give to you in the first place. You're just selling yourself out for money. You're selling your feeling, your stress, your health for money. You're also selling yourself out on your relationship because you have all these things and you're unintentionally throwing it there. Or you could do something that either gives you a lot of money because you're feeling so good from that job, which also helps you out, get more money because you have more energy from that job, because you feel better doing this thing that you like. And that affects relationships because you're feeling good and you're bringing that to these people, which is something you want to do. Now that I'm mentioning this, doing things that which feel good, clear, and everything, that's also going to help manage what you're going to do for your day-to-day. Also your stress. When you do things you like, it doesn't even need to go into discussion about solving stress because you're doing something you like anyway. And when you're so focused on here and now, you'll be even lost when thinking comes in your mind and it leaves. It's just going to be happening on its own in the background while you are just focused on the here and now, doing things which you like. And if it does come, you're feeling stressed at this time, and it's going to come and it's going to go. I also want to iterate something. I did mention that past thinking comes to your mind and you can either let it go or do something about it. But when I say past, I mean thinking in general. Anything that's an image, anything that's a thinking. If it comes to your mind, you could either let it go or do something about it. But if you're going to do something about it, it only makes sense to do something which feels good, clear, fresh. Nobody wants to do a choice where I guess I fucking have to go and do this. You don't have to. People want you to say that you can go and do that. You don't have to. It doesn't make you a man by doing that. Just people say it does, but it's not actually true. What I'm saying is that you want to do things that feel fresh, feel good, love, bliss, peace. And when you have that and you're going to do something which matches what you like and everything, and you're going to do that, everything that's around that is going to get fully affected by that. If that makes sense. And I hope that helps describe the topic of this video. That if you want to get rid of stress to best solve your situations, this video is here to go and do that for you. That being said, I hope you have a good one, guys.